Hello, everyone. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna share my screen. All right. Oh my God, we already have 42 people in session. All right, everyone's excited for this. I'm loving this. And I'm on time. We're prompt. Very, very good. Okay, so just make sure everything is up. Perfect. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Whether it is the morning, afternoon, or evening where you are, I am just very delighted you could join me today and want to give a big welcome to Triple Whale's monthly webinar series where we explore hot topics and gather some of the best industry experts to provide exclusive insights and tips. I am Erin Watt, one of the Triple Whale Tech Partner Managers, and I will also be your host for this really exciting series on building brand loyalty, where we'll discuss strategies for long-term success in 2025. So I am super thrilled to be here. But before we dive in, let's just make this super interactive. I want everyone that has joined, drop a message in the chat, say hi, let us know where you're tuning in from. So if you don't know me, I am joining you from Toronto, Canada, where honestly, the December weather has been really keeping me on my toes and not in a good way. So over the weekend, we had a really beautiful light sprinkle of snow, and today it's been rainy and it's been muggy and foggy and warm. And I am one of the Canadians that's actually eagerly waiting for a proper winter weather. So I've actually been a little bit disappointed with the lack of snow in Toronto. So where's everyone else coming from? Share where you are. All right, we got Carter from Venice Beach, definitely much warmer than it is here. We got Florida. We got Rachel from New York. We got LA. Oh, we got Zurich. Want to go skiing? That's where I want to go. Wonderful. We got Austin. Got the UK. Cape Town, Africa. I actually got married in Cape Town. That's wonderful. Welcome, Mark. Got Montreal. My God, we honestly we got a worldly attendance right now. This is amazing. So we definitely have people that are joining us in the evenings, the mornings, the afternoons. So thank you everyone for coming. This is wonderful. Okay, so now thanks, Annabelle. So now that we are a few minutes in, let's jump into it. So just wanted to extend another really warm welcome to anyone that's just joining again. In today's webinar, we will dive into some key elements of building brand loyalty and also explore tools and strategies to drive success as we head into 2025, which is so hard to believe that we've already made it through the whirlwind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and now we're gearing up for the new year. I don't know about you, but I just want to pause for 10 minutes and have a cup of cocoa and just relax. But I do know for all my fellow entrepreneurs that are here today, you guys are always working and always preparing for what's next. And with that in mind, we have gathered some of the top industry leaders to share their essential tools and strategies for keeping customers engaged and building lasting brand loyalty into 2025 and beyond. So whether you are an experienced e-commerce pro, new to the industry, or you're looking to elevate your strategies, you will walk with some actual insights to achieve some outstanding results in your business after today's session. And today's agenda is just packed with some incredible speakers sharing valuable insights, and I will be your host throughout this session. So to kick things off, we have Chase, the CMO at Heatmap, followed by Michael, the partner manager over at Gorgias. Next up is my wonderful colleague, Thamana, who will be presenting on behalf of Triple Whale. After that, we'll hear from Krista, the senior tech partner manager at ShipBob. Then Nathan, the CEO and co-founder of Railian, will take the stage, followed by Lolita, the owner of eStar. And finally, we're thrilled to close out the session with Ben, the senior paid media consultant at Vervant. And of course, we understand that work or kids or pets might demand your attention. So if you do miss any of this presentation, or maybe you need to rewatch it because you couldn't take your notes fast enough, we are recording all sessions and we'll email them to everyone who signed up and also attended today's webinar. And that's not all, because here at Triple L, we love to keep things exciting and reward our active participation during presentations. So our fabulous speakers have come together to provide some amazing giveaways for the most engaged audience members. So we've got some fantastic giveaways lined up for you today. Triple L will be giving away a $100 Visa gift card. Heat Map is offering a very stylish Heat Map tracksuit. Gorgeous is contributing a $75 gift card. And both Raylan and ShipBob are keeping up with the gift card trend, going with a $75 Visa gift card. And lastly, our friends over at EatStar are generously giving away a $100 gift card. So, with all of these amazing prizes, everyone should have no problem finishing their holiday shopping. So, you might all be asking, what does it mean to even be an engaged audience member? How do I win these gift cards? Well, it's super simple. Just like you're doing right now, engage in the chat and also ask questions, network with your fellow attendees, or maybe even just send a couple emojis and positive comments. So I'm going to be blindly scrolling in the chat to choose a winner at the end of each end of each presentation. So the more you participate in the chat, the higher chances of winning the giveaway at the end of each presentation. All right, everyone excited? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can welcome our first speaker. So everyone, please give a warm welcome to Chase, the CMO over at Heatmap. Welcome, Chase.
Thanks for
It's
having me.
very sunny where you are right now.
Yeah, I'm in LA, and because it was so hot during the summer, now I take all the meetings and everything I can outside. Um,
That's fair.
but I was locked indoors for the entire summer because it was scorching hot
That's
here.
fair. That's
Yeah,
fair. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying the beautiful weather.
thank you.
And Chase, if you wanted to just pull up your presentation so we can make sure that everyone can see it.
100%. Here we go.
Oh, beautiful. All right, Chase, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining today. Excited to kick things off. Um, I'm going to talk about how be above the fold and the above the fold of your website is the most important most important part of building brand loyalty, especially in e-commerce. I'm going to give you a bunch of kind of all of the tactics, but the main thing is 80% of your traffic is coming from paid media, meaning the congruence between your ads or your emails or wherever you're sending the traffic to your website needs to make sense within that first portion of your website. So I'm going to give you some data points, some tactics with which to take, and some examples to build your brand with. So why should you believe me? Well, we have analyzed we've ingested and analyzed at Heatmap 12.3 trillion web data points, meaning we know a little bit about what we're talking about. So these insights we've pulled for this presentation are predicated on all of those things. And so let's dive in. So why the above the fold matter? So I just want to give you a little visualization of what your first breakpoint looks like in terms of the percentage of people that are viewing. So you see just down here, you go from 99% viewers to about 65% to 30%. This is pretty standard, and this page actually has a pretty great hold rate. Most pages don't actually work like this. So let's talk about a few of the data points here. So the first visitor before they stay or leave is 50 milliseconds. Now, try to snap, you'll already have wasted 50 milliseconds. Already over. Second, there's a 70% bounce rate. And so what we look at is what is an engaged session. That is either someone has taken an action within the first 3 seconds, or they've held longer than the first 3 seconds within their session with you. 80% of your traffic comes from paid, meaning post-click optimization is really crucial. The average conversion rate of these websites is 3%. So volume of traffic matters, but also quality of traffic matters. And quality of traffic a lot of times is dictated by what's happening post-click. 75% of your traffic never sees more than 30% of your page. Let that sink in for a second. 75% of your traffic never sees 30%, more than 30% of your page. That means you're just losing customers very quickly without them getting the most important information possible. This is why we really want to talk about the above the fold. And less than 50% of brands actually optimize their above the fold or any of their landing pages or post click experiences. So this is just a chart kind of tracking all of this for you. At what percent the user engagement is based on scroll depth. And so you can see very quickly it falls flat on its face. So I want to talk to you about a couple examples of what a winning above the fold looks like. And so there are some brands here you know, maybe some you don't. This first one, why we really don't like this is their pop-up is covering the entire product, and there's no product within their within all of their images here that stays open within that. And so this appears in less than 5 seconds, and there's no action that you need to take for this pop-up to show up. And so yes, they're giving you an offer, they're trying to get you into it. But if you're trying to shop and figure out what's going on, this is not going to help you. There needs to be some sort of action taken, getting closer, getting closer to that CTA on that page. Why we like this one from Jones Road is they're giving you the 5 reasons why, and they're showing you the number. So you're getting a CTA to keep scrolling, but you're able to see what's going on within the page. And so you're seeing the product, you're seeing it kind of in use because it has some sort of texture there. It's not just a clean, flat, brand new product. And you're giving a nice, really punchy CTA that allows you to move really quickly. This one, why this is a struggle with Meridian, overloaded and unclear messaging. And this buy one, get one free is covered by rewards and 20% back, but you're already doing a BOGO offer. So who is the product for? Why is there two offers on top of an offer? Like these things don't actually work together. The only thing that's really working nicely together is this announcement bar and the copy, the offer copy are aligned. So at least if you miss this, you will have gotten some space here. And they're giving you a CT, they're giving you a action to take with the code holiday. This social proof in action. So we'll show a better example of this, but really love that it's showing over 500,000 tested. I would have this right here, and I would take out all of this copy. This is a cognitive overload, and so we'll talk about this a little bit later. But these things like kill purchase conversion velocity, and I don't even want to shop test their products. But if I had this, and then I said take the guesswork out of which foods and supplements your body needs, I would want to shop tests and products. And we've seen this work over and over again. You should never have more than 2 lines to 3 lines of copy within that above the fold. Okay, so a few things that really matter here across that is your add to landing page. So your post click experience and how much that aligns with in the above the fold with what's going on your ad. So this one is one I quite like. I gave it a score of an 8 out of 10. The next one actually is even better. But it has the same type of meat and it has more premium looking meat that you can interact with. They're using the same word source, sustainably sourced, responsibly sourced. So kind of same. Um, the USPs feel very aligned. And there's a strong conversion focused CTA. Get your custom box, get started. I would love if those things were the same, but again, at least you're getting pushed towards some sort of action that you can take. One thing I wish was more aligned is this 169 per month versus this 350 per serving. You're making me do math. At this point, don't want to do math, want to think about clicking to get closer to the actual end purchase here. And so you want to make sure that these things are aligning as much as humanly possible. The next one will go one more add to landing page, then we'll move right on through this. What you see with this Glossier this Glossier ad and why this gets a 9 out of 10 is there's this product, gentle but mighty, and then you see the solution in action. And again, it's not a really great action shot because you're not seeing what's happening, but at least you see that there's some sort of human interaction going on with the product, while also, and I think this is a stroke of genius here. Usually, what people will show you is this, and they're not reminding you, they're not recalling the product that you saw in the ad previously. So they just have a product right in the. It's almost like a picture in picture, if you will, like the old movie stuff. Where they show the product here. The other one, what I would say is probably the better one to align on, though, is also just having the product very directly, and you see above the fold, the ratings, and you also see 2 different shots of people using the product. So even if you only go product to product, at least within these images, you have people interacting with it. The aesthetics, the designs are all very similar, so they've done a great job of making sure that there is congruency between the two things, and they have like a gentle but effective exfoliation. So it makes sense that everything is aligned perfectly with their target audience. And again, why do these things matter? Because your scroll depth, people are not actually going to scroll past this unless they see a few different things that add up to each other. And that's kind of the main thing here is everyone thinks you have to change huge things, but it's really making sure that everything aligns so there's no gap and no cognitive overload for your customers or your prospective customers. So I'm going to talk about some core principles, and we're going to go into some examples of each one of these. So you want to have a mobile design first. One of the things that we optimize for, and I have to give our CEO and founder credit for this, is we show instead of every other heat mapping tool shows you desktop first, and everyone designs for desktop. And so if you want to see a well-designed page, go see if it's mobile responsive when you go and do an inspect of their web page. But you want to have a mobile design first. 80% of traffic comes from mobile for all people with AOVs, say under about $175. And so you want to be focused on that mobile experience. You want to have a strong CTA that guides customers into the funnel that you want them to be interacting with. So you want to be very thoughtful about that first CTA that's above the fold. Your announcement bars. Everyone throws an announcement bar, and it is the like I don't say the most important real estate, but it is the only place where you're going to get 100% of eyeballs, and people are very thoughtless about it. They give like a hey 75% off of $75 gets you free shipping. Well, that's something that people expect because we're in a post Amazon Prime era, and it's going to be on the product page. So you need to do something that drives purchase velocity. That's just table stakes at this point. So it needs to be a hyperlinked offer. Otherwise, it's unnecessary. Hyperlink to a page that's interacting that they can interact with. Text limits. This one, please, 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 no longer than 2 lines. Again, people want to read things fast. Think of everything as like a tweet, and not if you have a confirmed account with a check mark where you can write longer ones. Actually, 2 lines. Font size 14p for readability. A lot of people, if you go on their websites, their standard text because they're trying to have a certain brand aesthetic is 10 or 12. And imagine someone who's clicking through and they're on their phone and they're reading it and they have to squint really hard. That's already cognitive friction. And unless they already know your product and or are really interested, not browsy, you're not going to take that person who's at a 4 and get them to a 7 to an 8 to purchase with something where they have to think. Social proof, stars, badges. You guys all know about social proof. I'm going to show you an example I love that leans really heavily into the social proof being the first thing that they see and the reasons why. And then pop-up timing. This one, I wish I could get more people to understand that people need to take an action. I know what you're optimizing for. You want to get an email so that you can get them into your life cycle flows. The thing is, you're not actually thinking about the customer experience. You're optimizing for yourself, not the customer. The customer will give you something if you just give them a second. So optimizing for either longer than 5 seconds and or them taking one action on your page gives you a sense that they are someone who is in market, who is interested and wants to interact with your business. So we're going to actually go into some examples here, and obviously I want to take questions after all of this. So mobile first design. So our friends at Hexclad, if you look at this page, this is a very big image. What they've done is made it really responsive, and they've made sure that above the fold, they have a few things: holiday offer, all of the things that they need you to interact with, what you can save up to in the holiday set, build your own or the popular sets, and then making sure that they get a little bit of social proof from Gordon Ramsay giving a signature. And then this is the pop-up that they had, and they did wait longer than 3 seconds for this one. And again, it's aligning with this shop the sale, which is what you're going to see right after you click out of this box. You're going to see holiday sale and then most popular sets. Shop the sale, decline discount. And what I actually really like in this pop-up here is first you can see the website behind there, and so this is something that a lot of SaaS companies do, where they will show the product as it will stand once you populated your data, so you get a sense of I need to go and take some action here. But they've used a different number. Like they didn't say 40%, they didn't say 35. 41% is unique and makes you stop for a second. So this is a great mobile first design and a great pop up. Strong CTA, again, friends at Ridge, and strong CTA. You guys know the assignment on this. You want to make a clear offer that people understand. What I really like here is this is taking up 40% of the page. It has a very clear color that is different from this. Aligns a little bit here, but still sticks out and is the same as this hyperlinked announcement bar. And it gives you, again, this up to 40% off. And these things are linked. Again, these things make people, you're compressing. So I kind of call this like almost an offer sandwich. Like you're compressing what people have to interact with so that they can make decisions more quickly. Announcement bar and text limits. So this one's from Ilia. They do a great job here. Again, 2 lines. The more the merrier. Shop seasonal edits of makeup, skincare, and minis. And then they're making sure that you know the sales on sale, take up to 40% off. And again, a hyperlinked announcement bar here. So these things make a lot of sense. I would challenge you to go audit your above the folds in a few of the different landing pages that you have and your homepage that actually tends to get a lot more traffic than people expect based on all of the information you get on Twitter about landing pages. And so optimizing those things will make sure that both you have the most effective use of space for your customers and also places where people can take action. Social proof. So this is the one I was touting a little bit earlier. There's a company called Newtonic, which is like a focus drink. Think of like Magic Mind, similar to Magic Mind, but a new one. What they've done is they've put their Trustpilot at the top so that once they go to fuel your focus in a refreshing, uplifting formula and a buy now, you've already kind of accepted that, okay, this is at scale, something that people are interacting with. I'm going to just go to a buy now page to see what's what flavor wise, price wise, etc. And so leading with social proof means that you're not afraid of people questioning your efficacy. I think this is a really incredible use case for it. And you then kind of get to actually tell the story of your brand rather than just focusing on getting people through the information that will make them more likely to buy. So those are the core principles of those are the core commandments of updating your above the fold. And again, it's the heartbeat of your website. It really builds long-term customer trust and loyalty because it's the first avenue into interacting with your product outside of an ad. And so think of it this way. An ad is on someone else. You're working and trying to get this traffic in someone else's business. This is the first gateway they have to interacting directly with your business. And so you build brand loyalty from that first interaction above the fold. And then small changes actually lead to big impacts when they are focused on that first interaction, because it means that people will scroll down through the page and the amount of traffic that gets to that second bucket and third bucket increases. So your revenue per session, which is our most important metric for efficiency of your paid traffic and the efficiency of your website, grows and the profit grows from there. So chasetheheatmap.com if you want to chat more. Obviously, I'm here I'll stay for the chat. On Twitter at I'm Chase Moseni, and happy to chat anytime. Really appreciate everyone listening in, and hope everyone starts optimizing.
Wonderful presentation. Everyone in the chat was very impressed and had a lot to say, especially when it comes to mobile first optimization. And I do actually, I had one question that came up from Asha. Would love you to stay back in the chat anyways, because it seems
Sure.
like I said, there's some great conversation. Where'd she go? Okay, so how do you make sure that the mobile design works for most mobile phones, or do you have a mobile phone priority list and optimize accordingly?
This is a great question, and I'm going to plead the fifth on giving the most technical answer. I would defer to our fearless leader Dylan. The idea is those, like most of the viewports, and he's in the chat, so he can actually answer this one as well. Most of the mobile viewports are relatively the same. Obviously, you want to go iOS device, so the most updated iPhone and Android as the first two to optimize for. But that's the place that we see the most traffic coming from is Androids and iOS devices. So I would optimize for those two, and focusing there. Like the other ones are tertiary. It's kind of like anyone asking like what systems do you guys see as the most prevalent people using heat maps? There are a bunch of different people because we service everybody, but Shopify is the most consistent one. So we optimize for Shopify experiences. Same thing I would say for mobile. Optimize for iOS device first, then Android, and you'll be fine.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I mean, people are still asking questions, and a lot of it is to do with also mobile. So
680p is most common. See, you guys, 2 for 1, everybody.
is awesome. Well, if you guys are able to stay back a little bit and just discuss things in the chat, that would be wonderful. But before we jump off, we have to see who is going to be the winner of this stylish heat map tracksuit that I feel
We should
like
have worn it today
I
after
also should get one.
yeah, 100%. We just placed an order. We placed another order as well because we have a few left for this event, and like they flew off the shelves.
There you
Uh,
go, guys. You guys are getting an exclusive heat
yeah,
map tracksuit that everyone wants.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
all right. So I'm going to blindly go through the chat, and the winner is going to be oh, Asha Hall. Congrats. You are the winner of the stylish heat map tracksuit. So we will make sure that we get your information over to Chase and we'll get that over to you. And thanks again, Chase, for that wonderful
Great. Thanks,
presentation. We
everybody.
appreciate
Appreciate it.
you.
Bye.
All right. Well, everyone, we are off to a great start. And I really, really, really appreciate how interactive everyone's been. As we know, these presentations are great because we're learning from the experts, but the chat is also great because you're learning from your fellow attendees. You're learning from their experiences, things they love, things they hate, learning from the questions that they're asking. So, yes, obviously, there are some wonderful gifts to be won, but this is the way that we're also going to take the presentation to the next levels because this is how we learn from one another as well too from your networking. So thank you again. And next up on stage as we roll up, it's our good friend Michael, the partner manager over at Gorgeous. Probably seen him a million times, but we never get enough. Michael, please come on stage.
Hello, everybody. How's it?
Hello, Michael. All right, well, if you can take a moment to share your screen to make sure that it's working.
Of course, of course. All right.
Beautiful. All right, and I will leave you to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, that was a great presentation by Chase. I think kind of starting with, how are people getting on your website? How are they shopping? Really ties in well with what I'm going to speak on today. Thank you for Triple L for hosting. For Aaron, this is a really, really cool time that we get to reflect now that the hecticness of Black Friday, Cyber Monday is kind of subsiding, and we can kind of get ready for the next big wave that never ends. But pretty much, yeah, what's going to happen in the next year in 2025? What are some lessons that we learn, as well as some tactics that we can apply? So once all those great folks have looked at your website, they've gotten there, they made a purchase. Well, what do you do with all that? What's their experience as a customer? That's overall like one of the biggest differentiating factors that you have. Quick background, Michael from Gorgeous, managing tech partnerships over here out in San Francisco. But yeah, let's jump kind of right into it. We're going to cover a few topics, looking at your past customer interactions to inform your, excuse me, your 2025 strategy, adding AI to the team, exciting, and then how to kind of convert and conquer for new customers that are coming to your site, like on mobile. So in order to kind of best prepare how to implement some of these sales tactics, these retention tactics, we have to understand what customers want, and it's delighting them beyond just transaction. So it's how do you help your customers, right? You want to be where they are and provide a proactive support, making sure you're responding to tickets quickly. And we're going to get into some details on how to achieve these things and why they're important. But before we do, let's take a look here. You know that your customers are going to reach out however they want. So you need to be available in as many different channels as possible, which is basically the structure of an omni-channel support strategy. And you should know who your customer is as soon as they reach out to you. So someone out there is going to only reach out to you on Facebook, or they're just going to keep texting. You can only do so much to like drive them to your sales at or support email. But having this omni-channel strategy to kind of aggregate all those different inbound ways people are messaging you is kind of standardizing that experience, and that's critical. So when you centralize all these channels, your team's bandwidth to answer those questions can be mitigated. And really, with all these interactions from multiple channel, like data is really crucial to provide that fast, efficient, personalized customer experience. And that's kind of also why we excel like in helping brands do that, right? So what are some of the challenges that customers are facing today and will be facing next year? So, long first contact times and long resolution times is big. So, today takes about like 12 hours on average for people to get a response when they reach out. Resolutions can be even longer. So, not even just reaching out, but actually solving that question that the customer has. There's also a lack of personalization that's happening, and we're going to see some improvements on that. If you've ever reached out and had to repeat yourself, these are all things that I think are getting addressed today that in 2025 are also a really big area of opportunity if you're not personalizing and you're not aggregating all that data together to get that one customer profile is really, really going to be key. So I wanted to share an interesting stat with you guys here. And so this is from HubSpot, but 80% of shoppers are more likely to buy when given a very personalized experience. Kind of as Chase showed, like the landing page is really key. And not only that, but once they're on your site, how are you catering the things they're seeing to that person's interest based off their past purchase history using Shopify data? Like these all come into play. And then second, 90% of customers rate an immediate response as important or very important when they have a customer service question. So this is something like I've thought of a few examples on this. I think one that comes to mind for me personally is like, if I'm ever buying like a hoodie or a sweater, I want to know, does it run big? Does it run true to size? And I'm sure you can kind of get those gears turning on like if you're about to buy something, but there was some little aspect of it that you didn't know, but it was enough for you to kind of just hold off. That's really where the rubber hits the road. They're at the bottom of the funnel, already on your website, but maybe they don't have enough time to answer that, or you can't get the question answered fast enough. That will kind of lead to some friction in the customer journey, the customer experience, right? So it's really, really important to keep note of how critical it is to address that metric. So customer engagement really is one of the most critical layers of your e-commerce growth stack. About what 73% of customer experience is important in making those purchasing decisions, kind of like the little anecdote I mentioned. 90% of customers rating that immediate response is very important. And kind of lastly, um, this is an interesting one. 43% of consumers would be willing to pay more for greater convenience. And that's really, really interesting. So, customer support and experience, it's viewed as kind of like the unsexy part of e-commerce. But as you can see from these numbers, it's so crucial because it should be a top priority for every brand, right? There's a ton of an untapped potential when it comes to these everyday interactions with customers, and customer acquisition costs aren't getting any cheaper. And this is an area that will pay huge dividends, right? So you want to drive, retain more revenue, and you really want to focus on winning those interactions when it comes to delighting like customers when they get to your site. So we're past Black Friday, Cyber Monday, going into the next season, right? So making sure that you're going to be prepared for that influx of new buyers is really key. So one of my first tips for you guys is use automation tools to reduce the load on support agents to get customers the answers that they want. That kind of speaks to like some of those needs that we kind of chatted about earlier, but you may not know like how to do that. Uh, Super simple. So you can leverage technology to automate these questions and avoid redundancies. So support encompasses like pre-purchase questions, it encompasses post-purchase questions, and both are huge opportunities to convert and retain customers. So what's really interesting here, you can see um, somebody reaching out, asking about their order information and getting that automatically resolved or automatically answered for them without taking up the time of one of your agents to like go and check their order and then service it back to them, and where they could be focusing on other things. I wanted to like highlight an interesting metric about chat as well. So 67% of conversations coming through a chat channel tend to be pre-sales, whereas 76% that come through an email channel are post-sales. So if you're using automation to self-serve for support, this is exactly what's going to free up time for maybe something that requires empathy, or like a cross sell or an upsell opportunity, right? And kind of with AI and automation, like what's everyone talk about? AI, it's like learning language models. How does that play with customer support? It really comes down to like two things. And as Chase mentioned, like we're all coming out of this Amazon instant gratification, free shipping kind of thing. We're also seeing like 24/7 standard. And if you're not having 24/7 support, it can be difficult to capture those interactions, and it really should be handling those easy questions. This doesn't necessarily mean like replacing agents. It just means like freeing up for problems that require that like specialization or empathy, right? And you use that AI to handle the rest, grab the Shopify data for you, use the customer data to personalize those responses. And the increased volume of tickets can really like hinder your support team capacity, so that your customers don't like abandon cart due to like a long wait time on a chat, right? It's all connected, and there are all these little touch points, but in the greater picture, it all kind of like connects together. So we don't want to leave people hanging for like 12 hours just to get an update. So on Gorgeous, we could see like merchants who are using the platform and setting up these like quick response templates and building these flows for frequently asked questions, having article recommendations, right? They're kind of effectively automating around like 30% up to 60% of their tickets. And as you scale, that level of reduced volume can have a huge difference in the quality of those interactions, right? So a quick highlight on like each of these things, right? After you've kind of analyzed your ticket history and find out what are the most common questions you have, you should be putting those like right front and center on your website. So when people click, maybe it's like a new product that sells out really quickly. Hey, what to do when this sells out? Here's how we'll notify you when it restocks. That will deflect a ton of questions, right? So you can pre-build those, change them as the seasons or products change. Maybe there was something that happened in the manufacturing process, and you need to have a specialized way to kind of funnel people and give them the answers. You can put that there. It's super customizable, right? So that gets them the answers immediately without speaking to anyone. And then for anything that has a little more nuances, you can use these flows to guide a customer to an answer, right? And then finally, we can set up responses to set up like key recommendation articles that give like a really detailed answer to a broad question. So there's just a few examples of what can be automated, and we can't emphasize enough like the impact this has for brands who are using this today. So knowing that you're going to get a lot of questions, I think one thing to kind of temperature check yourself on is called a ticket to transaction ratio. You can forecast this by looking at your sales data and your ticket volume. So the main thing you're going to want to kind of baseline yourself with is, this ratio. So for a brand that maybe hasn't optimized their customer experience process, we'll see about a 30 to 40% ticket to transaction ratio. So every 100 orders placed, you're getting like 30 or 40 tickets. But if you're optimized, you're probably going to cut that about in half. So yeah, take a look at your last 100 orders, see how many questions you got, and with that ratio in mind, use that to forecast the number of tickets you're going to get, and in turn, right, the number of agents you need to properly staff your team, or you can bolster with like an AI agent as well. So you can use this for your next like busy season going in 2025 to like forecast that spike in demand. My next tip for you guys is, understanding your requirements going into the busy season and equipping them with the right tools, right? So taking that time to analyze all these things so you can position and provide that level of support your customers expect and equip your teams with the right tools to handle the volume is really key. Probably one of the more interesting aspects of what I'll talk about today is, what's happening right now. Like we're entering a new age of CX in 2025, hence the sparkles. So technology and shopping are changing very quickly, and customer expectations for that immediate service has never been higher. So brands need to focus on like retention as one of the biggest competitive advantages over acquisition, and in possibly even over ad spend, right? So what does that look like from a day-to-day perspective? Yesterday, we were handling all these tickets, this chart on the left, right? You're handling all these repetitive tickets and not spending as much time on like optimizing tools and setup, just kind of being more reactive. Tomorrow or today, actually, um, let's call this yesterday and today. Now teams are coaching AI language models, right, to handle those valuable tickets, and then they can spend more time on team training, reporting, cross sell, upsell, right? So this is going to be a real paradigm shift when it comes to like answering tickets as not being the main component of CX jobs, right? You're going to coach your AI model to respond to all those basic tickets, right? And then you can still kick over those escalations and really free up that time for all those projects have been deprioritized up until now. So a couple examples of brands who've been trying to achieve that 24/7 support as a gold standard, right? We can see some merchants here using our platform really effectively by scaling support, reducing that volume, delighting customers, and really spending more time on that high impact work. Some quick quotes here. I won't go too far into it, but just to kind of give you guys an example of like how impactful this automation has been in the e-com space. So what's something to consider? Like this is Gorgias's approach to AI, but I think it's really, really key to if you haven't really, done a ton of like research into it, or even you're like, hey, where do I even start with this? Basically understanding that an AI that's learning all your policies and processes and brand voice is huge, right? You can ingest like all your customer conversations like ever had and use that to inform the tone of voice that you want to be responding. You're going to want it to also resolve things as well, right? AI accurately resolving like 60% or more of your customer inquiries. And then lastly, this is really key and kind of goes back to that pie chart, observing. So you're going to want to QA and review those conversations, say, hey, this was a good answer, this was a bad answer. And that's going to fine tune that model over time to just really improve. So what have some results been with Gorgias AI Agent for a lot of the brands we work with? 36% increases in repeat purchases, 37% reduction in first response time. Huge, right? That's one of the most important metrics. We're addressing it with that. Reduction in resolution time, cutting it pretty much in half. And then reduction in the tickets per order. So that's that ticket to transaction ratio, reducing that down. So all these things are all tied together. There's a kind of couple of brands wanted to highlight that also have had some huge success in it. So maybe you could check out their websites, see what they're up to. And I think they're really great standards like Topicals. They're using automation to address all those like pre-sales questions, which is a huge volume, as well as Shinesty. They're automating like 50% of their tickets, and they're able to kind of use a smaller team of agents that have like supercharged powers through all this like automation and 65% faster response times. Like it's pretty cool stuff. So if you've been doing some Black Friday shopping, maybe you've come across a couple of these brands. So kind of to kind of go into the tail end of my talk here today, the importance of turning visitors into customers is the last like bastion of customer experience. You've spent all this money on ads. They've got to your website. You've optimized your website because you listen to Chase, right? And now what do, right? So maximizing conversions for first-time visitors is really, really important, right? You're going to want to look at decreasing bounce rates from your site, improving that customer retention, trying to increase AOV, and then trigger actions based off of customer history, Shopify data, and launch campaigns that kind of speak to that. So that's kind of something called Gorgias Convert. Basically, it's driving value from a live chat as visitors are live on your website, right? 92% of first-time visitors to a brand website usually don't make a purchase, but shoppers who use a chat are 6 times more likely to buy versus shoppers who do not. So definitely zoom in on that. And lastly, on average, 12% of chat tickets lead to a sale, which means it's a higher converting sale than phone or even email. So that's a huge area of opportunity going into 2025 for you guys. And as kind of Chase mentioned, like 45.6% of shoppers really dislike pop-ups due to like omnipresence, and 28.6% tend to dislike some of those pop-ups because they appear like at the second they land on the website. So you can actually change how this all works. Um, Basically, you're going to engage and retain these customers across the buying journey through proactive and targeted chat campaigns that can trigger based off of like all kinds of different things. Like, have they purchased from you in the past? Are they a VIP customer because you've tagged them in Gorgeous, right? And you can serve them different messages. If they're on the checkout page, do you serve them a free shipping coupon before they bounce, right? Displaying exit intent. These are all things that you can take advantage of. So overall, like, you can lift your store GMV like up to 18% with Gorgeous Convert, hyper segmented proactive chat campaigns. So you can effortlessly, convert the website traffic into revenue. So it's about the customer experience and about capturing that interest. So basically, lift that conversion, decrease that bounce rate, increase the sales on targeted products, and generate like ROI for ads, if you're comparing like spending on ads versus spending on clicks. So overall, those are huge ways that you're going to retreat those returning customers like VIPs. I'm going to probably run past this next one as I kind of touched on how do you actually do it. You basically can launch these things in a matter of minutes. And yeah, turn support centers into a revenue generator. So pretty much, we're going to recap. There's Tushy is another example who ran a campaign with like a 25% off promo and had a huge lift from that. So yeah, definitely check out some of these brands that I mentioned. Overall, uh, pretty much you're going to want to make sure that you're where your customers are, provide proactive support, and respond to things as quickly as possible, leveraging AI and technology. Then when brands hit your site, make sure you're capturing them. So if you have any other questions about Gorgeous, about any of that kind of stuff, feel free to shoot me a note or scan the QR code here. I'll pop my email in the chat. But thank you guys so much. Wishing you guys a ton of success going into these last few days of the month. You're all going to crush it with all the top tips here today.
Awesome. Another wonderful presentation, Michael. Thank you so much. If you are able to stay back, we have a ton of questions. Like, a lot of people
Right.
had some really, really great questions about just Gorgeous as a platform. But I did also want to get one question out there. I think it's a good one. Latif wanted to understand, how do we respond to customer queries from different channels in one omni-channel?
Totally. Yeah. So to kind of quickly answer that, imagine all of these different channels: Facebook, TikTok Shop, Instagram, wherever. They all come into one like unified view in an Gorgeous inbox. And then you can, just like your email, set up like different folders for different channels, set up different automations to answer those different channels. So it's all designed to be like really, really seamless, no matter where that question is originating from. And of course, like, making sure that it gets responded to in the same way. So if somebody sends an SMS, your response is an SMS as well. So that's all out of the box with Gorgeous.
And let's just say, Michael, you asked a question on Instagram and then you asked another question through SMS. Would that show up in your profile from the different omni channels that you're also asking questions from?
Yeah, as you're creating like one customer profile. Um, of course, like if this person has maybe never used one of those points of contact before, you would need to make sure that you connect it to that, Mr. ABC or whoever it is. But that's the whole idea, is knowing that Mr. or Mrs. ABC has messaged in before, they asked about this product, and you can get much deeper and much further in the conversation without them having to like repeat themselves. And you can have full visibility into that, especially with all the integrations we have. Like for example, Kristen from ShipBob is going to be talking later today and seeing all their past order history. Like, all this data from the Shopify app ecosystem also help informs how you're going to respond to these folks.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Like I said, we still have more questions, so please stay back if you are able to. And before you jump off, we have to find out who's going to be the winner of today's $75 gift card from Gorgeous. So just quickly looking, blindly looking through the chat,
Is it
and
going to
the
be?
winner is going to be Alana Taylor. Congratulations. You are the winner of the $75 gift card. We will make sure that Michael gets your information to get that gift card over to you. Congratulations.
Amazing. Yep. I'll send you guys some messages here and hang out on the background. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. All right, let's keep things moving. So as Michael mentioned just there at the end, that we are now actually going to be speaking with Krista, the senior tech partner manager over at Ship. Oh no, sorry. No, wait. I take that all back. We are actually going up next is going to be my lovely colleague, Thamana, who will be presenting on behalf of Triple L. Come to the stage, Thamana. So excited to have you.
Thank you so much. All right, let me share my screen here. One moment. There we go. All right, can
Okay,
everyone see my screen okay?
let's just wait a second. Yeah, we can see your screen. You're good to go. The stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. Well, hello, everyone. Once again, I am Thamana, and I am the newest member of the tech team here at Triple Whale, and I am thrilled to dive into the record-breaking weekend that we just witnessed and explore the strategies that made this all possible. But before we dive in and discuss BFCM, the 2024 trends, I want to tell you a little bit more about what Triple Whale is for those of you that don't know. So Triple Whale is a game-changing platform for e-commerce businesses. And at its core, it's a comprehensive analytics platform that basically consolidates the most critical metrics and attribution data into one easy-to-use dashboard. So instead of bouncing around from different tools or struggling to piece together fragmented data, Triple Whale actually serves as the ultimate source of truth, giving you the clarity and confidence you need to make better business decisions. And how does it do this? Well, Triple Whale seamlessly integrates with the platforms you already use to pull in the data that actually matters to your business. And on top of that, we leverage e-commerce specific AI to not just provide insights, but also uncover actionable opportunities to optimize your performance. So whether it's discovering your top performing channels, better understanding your customer behavior, or even improving your ROAS, Triple Whale ensures you're looking at the data points that truly matter to your bottom line. And we are super duper proud to be partnered with over 20,000 plus Shopify and Shopify Plus brands, ranging from small businesses to large scale enterprises. And our platform has become an essential tool for e-commerce businesses across a wide variety of industries, helping them unlock their full potential and achieve remarkable growth. And most recently, we've actually started working with shops on BigCommerce and WooCommerce too. So a few examples that you can see here including some notable improvements that Triple Whale has impacted include Milk Bar Cookies, Doe Lashes, Avi, Portland Leather Goods, and many more. And if you're interested in finding out what we've done with some of these companies and looking at some of the case studies, you can actually check out our website where we have a whole section for that. All right, so now that you're familiar with Triple Whale, let's explore the data behind the success of our brands. And these brands have set new benchmarks during BFCM, collectively generating over $2 billion in revenue. Let me repeat that. That's $2 billion with a B. So today we'll not only review the stats, but we'll also uncover key lessons and actionable takeaways to position your brand for success in 2025. So whether you're scaling a small business or managing a global enterprise, there is something here for everyone. All right, let's review the big highlights from the weekend. So first off, 2.03 billion in total revenue. 22.5 million orders were processed across Triple Whale brands, and 313.8 million was spent on ads, which led to 273 million clicks and a ROAS of 6.46. Now, the average order value was $90, with the highest AOV seen in home and garden at about $170.75, and sporting goods at $160.29. So, clothing, health and beauty, and fashion accessories were the standout industries, generating 468, 316, and 206 million in revenue, respectively. Now, these categories highlight the importance of understanding product-specific demand trends. One of the standout stories from BFCM this year was real-time data tracking. So real-time data is like having a GPS for your e-commerce strategy. And while historical data has its place, using only in-platform data often provides an incomplete picture. And on top of that, many businesses rely on messy, manual processes like juggling endless spreadsheets to piece together this data, which is both inefficient and completely prone to errors. And if that's you, I want you to write how frustrating it is in the chat and what you've done to solve it. So Triple Whale simplifies this by integrating historic data with real-time insights in a centralized user-friendly platform, which empowers you to make better business decisions without the frustration of outdated methods. So over the BFCM weekend, Triple Whale's platform tracked 392 million sessions, 210 million shoppers, and 138 million add to cart events. Let's just let those numbers sink in. Those are huge numbers. Now, brands also leaned on Mobi, which is our AI assistant, which answered over 3,400 unique questions. So, for example, one brand identified that their Sunday evening ads were underperforming, and they quickly swapped it out to use a new creative, which saw a 35% improvement in ROAS by Cyber Monday. This level of agility is what separates good campaigns from bad ones. And the big takeaway? Well, don't wait until post-event analysis. Use real-time tools to identify and act on opportunities during peak moments. And this BFCM was a gold mine for customer acquisition. So let's dive into that a little bit. Well, over the weekend's most significant trends was customer acquisition. So 1.1 billion in revenue came from new customers, making up about 60% of total sales. And returning customers still played a vital role, generating about $707 million, or about 40% of sales. So this highlights the dual goals of BFCM, acquiring new customers while also retaining those loyal ones. And a balanced approach ensures long-term growth, as new customers can be nurtured into repeat buyers through strong post-purchase engagement. Now, let's take a moment to break down how different industries performed. So here you can see a bunch of different industries, but the largest share of total revenue for BFCM 2024 belonged to the clothing industry, with about 30.49% of all sales coming from that industry. And next up, health and beauty had the second highest share of revenue at about 20.61%. Toys and hobbies led in new customer purchases at about 80%, driven by the holiday gift-giving trends. And food and beverage saw the lowest share of new customers at about 41%, emphasizing the importance of repeat buyers in this category. So understanding your industry trends, industry-specific trends, can help you fine-tune your marketing and product strategies for the future. So for example, if you sell sporting goods, your AOV of 160 indicates that customers see value in investing in premium equipment. So use this insight to emphasize the quality and durability of your products in your marketing. Highlight customer testimonials in the showcase that showcase how your gear improves performance or lasts longer than competitors. And additionally, create bundle offers like the ultimate hiking kit or limited time discounts on top tier items, so that you can further capitalize on your audience's willingness to spend. So before we wrap up with our recap, let's take a look at the average order value across all of the brands. So for the entire weekend, the average order value across all brands was $90. And again, it was it was, split between home and garden being at the top at $170.75, followed by sporting goods at $160.29, with food and beverage having the lowest at $76.27. Interestingly, the highest average order value was actually on Friday at about $97, and it went down to about $84 on Cyber Monday. So again, before we wrap up, let's take a moment to review what we've learned from our BFCM 2024 and the strategies that you can actually implement in 2025. So number one, the power of real-time decision-making. Real-time analytics enable brands to make data-driven adjustments during BFCM, achieving a ROAS of 6.46 and generating 1.19 billion in conversion value. So what can you do in 2025? Well, use analytics platforms like Triple Whale to monitor sales and ad performance in real time. And you can also train your team to actually use live data to adjust budgets and creatives, identifying underperforming channels and ads, and reallocate resources for a better ROI. Number two, Moby answered 3,400 unique questions, empowering our brands to optimize campaigns with actionable insights. So in 2025, something we would suggest would be, first off, analyzing your BFCM from 2024 and look at those performance look at that performance data to identify top performing products, customer segments, and campaign strategies. And then you can use these insights to actually refine your overall marketing plan for the next holiday season. And the last thing you can do here is continuously optimize based on post-purchase behavior to ensure your strategy always evolves with your customer needs. Learning number three, AOV was $90 across all brands, again, with home and garden leading and food and beverage being the lowest. So for 2025, introduce product bundles, upsells, and free shipping thresholds to encourage a higher cart value. And highlight premium products or limited edition collections to increase the perceived value. Number four, Triple Whale tracked over 392 million sessions and 138 million add to cart events, emphasizing the need for robust infrastructure. So for 2025, you can strengthen your e-commerce infrastructure, including inventory management, website performance, and customer support systems. Ensure scalability to handle peak traffic and order volumes during the holiday sales, and develop a year-round strategy that incorporates holiday peaks into your broader growth goals. And lastly, build a balanced customer acquisition and retention plan. So during BFCM, 60% of revenue, again, came from new customers, showcasing the power of targeting first-time buyers, but 40% of revenue still came from those returning customers, which emphasizes the importance of retention strategies. So in 2025, make sure you take a look at your acquisition strategies. So target gift shoppers with first-time buyer incentives, like discounts, bundles, and exclusive offers, and use data-driven ad campaigns to reach high-intent audiences. And for retention strategies, we suggest converting new customers into loyal buyers with personalized onboarding emails, loyalty programs, and product recommendations. So re-engage existing customers with exclusive deals, early access to future sales, and targeted campaigns. Now, the goal is obviously to build a balanced approach that drives new customer acquisition while fostering long-term loyalty and repeat purchases. 2025 is the year to build on the momentum from this BFCM. And that concludes my presentation. If you'd like any more insights or want to see how Triple Whale can help your brands achieve record-breaking success, visit our website or reach out to our team. I will add my email and my LinkedIn to the chat. You can also try Triple Whale by connecting your store to our free analytics tool, which is called Founders Dash. And it's a great way to dive into data at no cost and get a feel for what we have to offer. I'll also share that link in the chat. Thank you guys so much. I wish you nothing but the best and nothing but success in 2025.
Wonderful. Some great stats. We had a crazy BFCM by the looks of it. So thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. Everyone was super impressed with the presentation and had lots of questions. So we had a very engaged chat. And before we let you go, Thamana, let's choose our winner for today's 100 Visa gift card from Triple Whale. Just gonna quickly go through the chat. And our winner is going to be Adam Pivok. Pivco, sorry, Adam Pivco. Cannot read. Congratulations, Adam. We will get that gift card over to you after the presentation. We appreciate you and appreciate you, Kamala. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Erin.
All right. Now, our friend Krista, the Senior Tech Partner Manager at ShipBob, will be joining the stage. We are very excited to have her. She has been a part of our Triple Whale series before and has always produced the best presentation. Krista, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Let me just make sure my screen's all set here. Can you see that?
Beautiful. Yeah, that is beautiful. Thank you so much, Krista. I will let you take the stage.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. I'm excited to be here. There's been some really great tips so far. So excited to add some strategies. Today, we'll be talking about supply chain strategies for long-term success and how to build brand loyalty in 2025. So before we dive in, if any of you are new to ShipBob or unfamiliar, we help brands fulfill their orders across all sales channels. So we work with brands of all sizes, providing them access to best-in-class supply chain capabilities. And we're trusted by over 7,000 brands to build a scalable and affordable fulfillment solution. A few different ways we stand out. We have exceptional carrier costs, so we negotiate with all major carriers, so you're able to save more on fulfillment costs. Global warehousing capabilities, so we're able to take on omni-channel in terms of international as well. Omni-channel fulfillment, so that includes B2B and D2C, and also customization at scale, so you can create those unforgettable unboxing experiences, which is obviously top of mind this time of year. So before we get into kick things off, I just wanted to share a few Black Friday, Cyber Monday stats. I know we've seen some of these today already, but they're hot off the press. So just want to share the message that's been consistent over the last few years. Cyber Week broke records again. So this year they're bringing in $41 billion online overall. So that's 8.2% up year over year. And then the full holiday season is expected to hit $240 billion, which is up 8.4% year over year. So a few key takeaways: longer sales season. So holiday sales are spanning all of Q4, meaning higher order volumes and increased demand for fast and affordable shipping. I know I kind of feel like Black Friday was like a month long, so I definitely resonate with that. Cyber Monday was the busiest sales day. So consumers spent about 15.8 million a minute trying to take advantage of better deals launched exclusively on that day. And then mobile was a big winner this year. So 55% of online purchases were made via a mobile device. So this just shows the importance of meeting your customers everywhere that they're shopping. And then as far as ShipBob, we also had a huge year, a huge Black Friday, Cyber Monday week, 40% growth year over year, while maintaining our standard SLAs, which is great to see. Over 100 facilities across our global network were shipping orders, 290% more orders over the Turkey 5. So that's Black Friday to Cyber Monday compared to an average weekend in October. And then we just had some notable merchants here that will talk a little bit more about our place, but also Pet Lab was a big merchant for us, Tony's, Beach Waver, and a couple more. So it's clear that customers want a faster and more affordable shopping experience, no matter where they shop. So let's get into a few ways that you can achieve that in 2025. So first with providing fast and affordable shipping. So the Amazon effect is real. Shoppers want fast and cheap shipping. If you don't have it, they're going to find somewhere else that does. And so meeting these 2-day shipping expectations can seem difficult and expensive, but it doesn't have to be. Distributing inventory is the most effective way to provide fast, affordable delivery for your customers. And when it comes to fulfillment center locations, one of the most important considerations is if it's near your customers. And since your customers likely don't all reside in a single region, one fulfillment center can make it nearly impossible to efficiently reach the majority of the people that are buying from you. And so that's where distributed inventory comes in, taking a look at where your orders are going. So, where are your customers based? And then strategically putting inventory in warehouses in those areas. So, this not only shortens shipping distances and reduces the average zone you ship to, but because you're reducing those shipping zones, you're also lowering shipping costs. A quick example of this is Our Place. So, they were in 2023, they were working out of 2 fulfillment centers with us, so one on each coast, and it was expensive to ship items across the country, even with those 2 locations, and they were seeing longer shipping times of about 5 to 6 days. So this was impacting them, especially during peak. They had to cut off holiday sales around December 15th, in order to get their orders to customers in time for the holiday with their old setup. So to solve for this, they expanded to 4 warehouses. So they took a look again where their customers are, expanded to from 2 to 4 warehouses, and this translated into huge cost savings. So amounting in 1.5 million in outbound freight expenses. But now with this new setup, only 2% of their orders are reaching zone 7 or 8, meaning 98% of orders are reaching affordable zones. And after they expanded their network, they were able to extend their holiday sales to the 19th or 20th. So this year they took advantage of the extra 4 to 5 days of revenue. And they were able to generate $2 million in revenue over those 4 to 5 days. So definitely a big impact from last year's, and they were able to extend holiday sales while still relying on cost-effective ground shipping because of that distributed inventory. So as we head into 2025, definitely take a look at your 2024 data and identify where your customers are shopping from, and then work with your fulfillment partner to get your inventory closer to those locations in order to reduce shipping costs and also improve delivery speeds. Physical and digital retail are no longer separate lanes of business. So I know we've touched on this a little bit throughout the presentation already today, but making sure you're omni-channel and you're selling on more channels than one. So you're meeting your customers everywhere they're shopping, whether that's online or in store. So this just increases loyalty. You're being convenient and more available to customers. But also allows you to get on retailer shelves. So it's a great way to meet your customers where they're already shopping, but also take advantage of the trust and loyalty that comes with a retailer brand name like Walmart, Target, Ulta. We're able to support over 75 retailers with our EDI connections. And you also want to unlock new sales channels like online sales channels like TikTok to expand your total addressable market and reduce acquisition costs. So we work very closely with TikTok. We are powering a lot of the Fulfilled by TikTok to help brands provide a seamless shopper experience from discovery of new customers to the delivery. Our Place knew it was important to have an online and offline presence, but they were kind of piecing it together with multiple 3PLs. They had one handling wholesale, one handling D2C. And so it got really costly and complex. And then they brought everything under one umbrella. So they have orders for D2C, B2B, and for their brick and mortar store locations in Los Angeles, and retailers like Nordstrom, Target, and Bloomingdale's. They consolidated everything. And by doing this, they simplified their logistics, further reduced outbound freight costs, and met customer expectations around convenience and availability. So expanding to multiple channels can sound like a headache or a daunting task, but with the right partner, it doesn't have to be that way. Definitely talk with your fulfillment partner and see what their capabilities are. If you need any recommendations for retail partners, shoot me a message. We can definitely work together on that too. And then over communicating with your customers. So inaccurate delivery times and costs can jeopardize customer relationships and create an unpleasant shopper experience. You don't want this impacting conversion, especially during the holiday season. So that's why we have integrations with tech leaders like Gorgeous, Klaviyo, Triple Whale, Attentive, and more to help you manage customer expectations with clear delivery information and order updates. So this is all powered by ShipBob fulfillment data. And with these tools, you can get ahead of WISMO questions. So you're able to troubleshoot those customer tickets with deeper insights into those "where is my order" questions, providing clear, transparent communication. And that helps set expectations and build trust with customers as well. You can also automate order inventory notifications, so set up rules to automatically let your customers know when their orders have been received by the warehouse, they're being picked, packed, they're out for delivery. This piece just really helps you stay proactive instead of reactive and makes for a way better customer experience. You're kind of letting them know what's going with their order before they even have the chance to wonder. Which is always greatly appreciated. Even if it's a message like, hey, your order is delayed, at least you're letting them know instead of waiting for them to reach out and find out. And then empowering your customer success teams and service teams. So you're able to support them with real-time fulfillment data. It allows your teams to take action on active orders when further action needs to be taken, like canceling an order or adding items. And the holidays are stressful enough. So by automating a lot of these alerts, you can get time back in your day to focus on making sure you're having a successful peak season, but also make sure your customers know where their holiday gifts are at every step of the fulfillment journey. And then typically when you're expanding to new sales channels, it's challenging to maintain a consistent branded unboxing experience, especially during the holidays. These unboxing experiences are more important than ever. You want to win over those first-time shoppers and convert them into brand loyalists. And so 71% of consumers expect a personal touch in the shopping experience. So you can do things like gift notes and loyalty-focused inserts, branded packaging, stickers, tissue paper to make it more fun, kitted or bundled products to drive higher average order value. Our Place, again, going with them as an example, they have a high-end product and they have high standards when it comes to the type of experience they want customers to have with their brand. When you have customers like, David Beckham, Oprah, Selena Gomez, you need to make sure your brand experience is top tier. And so to provide an elevated experience with every order, they integrated their custom packaging into ShipBob's boxing algorithm. So this ensures that everything's packaged the way that they want customers to be receiving it, and also an appropriately sized box to maximize efficiency. Custom packaging is an important differentiator that allows you to add a special touch to your last mile experience and drive loyalty and retention. It's also a great opportunity to tap into your affiliate marketing strategy. Custom gift boxes during the holidays is a big thing. Affiliates are your Instagram or TikTok influencers who are telling their audience what the product looks like, what it feels like, how to use it, what you can expect when you receive it in the mail. And so this unboxing experience is crucial for your affiliate success and is really hard to execute on your own and at scale. Our Place also prioritizes sustainability. So they want to declutter kitchens by making multifunctional cookware, and they avoid the use of plastic in any packages. So this commitment to sustainability aligns with their dedication to providing an exceptional customer experience that customers want to return to after peak season. So you can incorporate customization into your supply chain in a few different ways, like I mentioned. But it's definitely great to diversify, stand out from other competitors, and leave your customer feeling happy that they placed the order and excited to hopefully do so again in the future. And that is all I have today. So for new merchants getting started with ShipBob, we have some special offers here, $1,000 in free shipping credits, 90% off implementation, and a really fun one is the 3 months of branded truck wrap. So we can highlight your brand on one of our ShipBob trucks and kind of have that as an ad in a city near you. But I hope this was helpful. I know there's been a ton of good insights this webinar so far. And I wish everyone the best of luck the rest of this month and into 2025.
Awesome. Thank you again for that wonderful presentation. And the chat is just lit up with so many questions. So if you are able to stick back to answer some of these, I'm sure our attendees would really appreciate it. There was a question that got a lot of likes. So Jamil just wanted to understand if you charge storage fees for each fulfillment location or only for one.
Yes. So we, as far as fulfillment location, and if you're talking about the distributing inventory, we do charge for storage at each location. And that is an objection I would say we get a lot. However, the difference between the storage fees and what you'll save on shipping, it really outnumbers that a lot. So it ends up you're still in cost savings, like you saw with the Our Place example. Even when they did go to from 2 warehouses to 4, they saved 1.5 million in shippings over the year. So it was a great question, but it definitely outweighs, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. And like I said, if you can stick back to answer the rest of the questions, that would be amazing. But
Definitely. I'll
before
be in the
you, oh, perfect. We really appreciate that. And before you jump off, we will just scroll through to see who is going to be our winner for today. And the winner of the $75 gift card is Matthew McIntyre. Matthew, congrats.
Amazing.
You will be the winner of our $75 gift card. So congrats on
Congrats,
that.
Matthew.
We'll make sure that Krista gets your information. Thank you again.
Thanks, Erin.
No problem. All right, and we're moving along. So once again, just a big thank you to everyone who is here participating. There has been some incredible questions in the chat, questions that are making me even learn more about my partner. So just really appreciating the participation from everybody. And also it's really great to see everybody engage with one another in the chat as well too. Lots to learn today. So now, we are very excited to be joined by our friend Nathan, the CEO and co-founder at Railin. Welcome, Nathan, to the stage. Hi, Nathan. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for
Good. Oh, I love it. You have the microphone. You're ready to go for this.
Yeah, gotta keep it authentic, right? So
Yeah, exactly. All right, Nathan. Well, why don't you put up your webinar deck just to make sure that we can all see it?
absolutely.
Oh, beautiful.
right.
All right, Nathan, I will let you take the stage.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. So yeah, I mean, first, I appreciate everybody tuning in and, and Erin and the Triple Whale team for inviting us and having us on here. Just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I mean, I'm Nathan Snell, co-founder and CEO at Railion. And one of the things that we've seen across millions of shoppers in our platform is, and especially as we think about kind of, what does building loyalty in 2025 look like, is a fun fact that we found, which is across all of our brands, your best customers are actually worth 5 times or 2 to 5 times more than every other customer that you have. So that's if you think about kind of your best customers compared to all other customers that you have, we see very consistently that at a minimum they're worth 2 times, sometimes 5, up to sometimes 5 or more times more than every other customer that you have. And for me, that sort of leads me to then go, okay, well, how do I get more of those? Right. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about through this presentation is, how do you go about taking, all of the customers that you have today and taking them on that path or that journey to become more and look more like your best customers? Because at the end of the day, right, the goal is, that you want to have as many loyal customers as you can. And for us at Railion, we like to quantify about everything we can, not dissimilar to Triple Whale. So for us, that means, how do you take your customers and turn them into more loyal customers, more of your best customers. So that way the LTV goes up, right? Your customer lifetime value increases because that means your revenue is increasing. Before we jump to that, if for those that aren't familiar with Railion, kind of a quick overview, won't spend more than 30 seconds on it or so. So Railion, if you're not familiar, is a lifetime optimization platform. What that means is that we work with brands, and we use AI to grow their customer lifetime value. We work with hundreds of different brands. We've grown LTV in great different ways. Sometimes a lot, sometimes say 30%. I'd say on average we see ROIs around 300%. It's not an exaggeration. But I don't want to spend much time on Railion. I really just want to dig into really again the idea of how do we sort of drive this forward. So we're going to cover a couple things over the next 10 or so minutes. The first being a few strategies that we see working at kind of a high level for brands that we work with and some of the top ones in the space. And then I'm going to hit on 3 tactics specifically that you can take home today and actually implement, right after this or soon after this webinar to actually see impacts to your LTV. So with that, one of the things that we see really consistently across, really high performing brands, is it's sort of this theory, this philosophy that we have at Railion really, which is in order to create more of your best customers, right, or more of your most loyal customers, you first have to have the DNA, if you will, of those loyal customers. In other words, you have to have the data to understand what do your loyal customers actually look like. Because if you don't know what your loyal customers look like, how in the world are you going to create more of them at scale, through ads or any of that sort of stuff? And this means being able to answer questions like, how many loyal customers do you have? How does that compare to growth opportunity customers? What's the LTV of, say, your loyal customers versus net new ones? And what does that mean for ROAS? What are the pain points that you might have? Where are sort of gaps in the journey, and so on and so forth. And just to kind of give an example of why this is important. So if you look at kind of the dashboard example we have on the screen, so we use AI in this instance to actually automatically learn all of your customers. We score them, we run predictive segmentation on them. So that way you can begin to have this DNA perspective. And so what we hear oftentimes with brands coming in is they say something like, well, I want to drive more repeat purchases. Well, that's awesome. Like, of course, every brand does, but generally when it's not broad of a goal, it's really hard to accomplish. Whereas if you look at this, you can see, okay, well, for my very loyal customer base, the actual number of repeat purchases starts to fall off at purchase 5 and 6. So as a starting point, let's actually take an actionable step and drive repeat purchases as a goal on purchase 5 and 6 for very loyal customers, right? And you just think about kind of how I even described that. That's a very narrow goal. It's very measurable, right? So you can measure the incrementality of it. But as a result, it's also really easy to run tests and experiments to begin to see, okay, are we accomplishing what we want here? Because as we drive more repeat purchases, LTV goes up, these curves go up, and ultimately, a brand, you all make more revenue, which is right, really the goal overall. Happy customers, more revenue. So for us, this is kind of what we like to start here, which is really let's ground it all in data. So that way we can start to inform kind of a broader strategy and then really, tactics that come from that. So as we think about that strategy, then one thing that we like to start with from a Railion standpoint is what we call the proactive loyalty matrix. So again, this is the idea of I've got all this data, right? So we start with that data standpoint of what do my most loyal customers, my happiest customers look like? And then we can say, okay, well, like ultimately when it comes to these quadrants, I want as many as possible in this brand champion category. But what's important about this proactive loyalty matrix and what we've seen with working with lots of different brands is it starts to help frame, the tactics that, that you actually want to employ to drive as many into that top quadrant as you can, right? Because the way that you interact with a growth potential customer should be different than how you, interact with a silent VIP, right? And that's different than say a brand champion. And part of it, I'd say too, that we call this a proactive loyalty matrix is, one of the things we see oftentimes is it's important to drive this distinction between say reactive loyalty or retention and proactive loyalty or retention. A quick example of that would be, if you're in a relationship with somebody, if the significant other comes to you and says, hey, I want to break up, well, and that's the point in which you actually start trying to do something about it. That's reactive retention, right? That's reactive loyalty. Now you might be able to keep them out of that win back category, but you might not. Whereas the great way to build a relationship instead is to be proactive throughout, right? It's to be focused on what are the paths that you can use to take those growth potential customers, those silent VIPs, and make them look more and more like brand champions using tactics tailored to these different sections that you would have. So that's kind of the idea from a strategy standpoint. And there's more there. This is actually based on sort of an adaptation of Walker's loyalty matrix, but we can get into that at some other point. So now just from from sort of a timing standpoint, we're going to jump into then tactics. I always like to make sure that there's something specific that you can kind of take away from this. So we're going to cover 3 things specifically. It should be applicable to to everybody here. I'd say the third one in particular to me is I'd say is something that we're seeing more and more folks, more and more brands, using and getting a ton of value out of. So that one I get particularly excited about. I have that one at the end a little bit. But first up, and actually I saw a question in the chat around this, is tangible promotions win? And the idea behind this tactic is, if you offer up, say, points or a percentage off or $5 off, those are all discounts that work, right? I mean, I don't want to say that they don't work, like they definitively work, but they pale in comparison to something that's a lot more tangible, like a gift, right? It doesn't have to be a gift with purchase per se, but like some kind of more gift-oriented offer. So it's just the difference between, if I'm going and I'm purchasing something and you're saying, okay, well, I can get a free massager with that, right? Or if I can get a shaker with this new protein powder that I'm buying, or whatever it may be. Like, the reason those gifts work is because I don't have to do any math. Like, I can create an emotional connection to it. It builds greater brand affinity because I'm going, okay, $5 off, like, all right, like I get $5, but the comparison to, ooh, I get something more, right? It just has it. What we see over and over is it drives this feeling of more. So two kind of quick pro tips with that. One, a lot of brands I see sort of struggle at times to figure out, like, well, where do I start with this? Honestly, your dead stock is an amazing place to start. We've got a brand that doesn't like discounting that works with us and uses our platform. And one of the things that they realized pretty quickly as we kind of laid out this whole matrix is they have a bunch of dead stock that they could use instead of discounting. And it actually drove better results than the discounts they were running before. Second one too is if you're doing any of these sorts of promos where you have any sort of like dollar amount gate, right? In other words, spend $100 or $50 or whatever it is, make sure that you actually test that threshold. We've seen increases of say 2 to 5% in conversion rate just by adjusting those thresholds a little bit. So once you pick that threshold, don't be afraid to experiment. You can really quickly see pretty outsized results there. And all this drives LTV. Second one, I'll pick on a little bit. I'm sorry if anybody feels called out. I mean this with care. I want you to grow your LTV. When it comes to your VIP customers, right, your best customers, status is better than discounts. Kith does an amazing job of this with their loyalty program. We actually have a whole teardown on our site. I'm happy to share with folks. But the idea here, right, is that one size fits all is just dead at this point. So what we often see happening is, brands will send out a discount to all of their customers, including their VIPs, right? It's just one size fits all. Or at most, they might just sort of send an early access, sort of email out to their VIPs. And like that can work some, but it's not the same as really tailoring an experience to your VIP customers and really helping them feel like they have that access, that status, because that makes them feel most special. Because oftentimes discounts don't actually work as well, or aren't as profitable for you all because like they're more likely to buy anyway. So you want them to feel more associated to your brand. So status greater than discounts on the VIP side. Last one here. So third, kind of my favorite. So sorry, my dog is making noise. Hopefully you can't hear it. So AI segmentation. So the idea here is if you're doing segmentation today, what we find in most cases is brands run say 3, maybe 4 segments overall. And I'd say if you're only doing that and you're not doing more targeted segmentation, you're leaving money on the table. You just are. And what's more is it's going to get worse because especially into next year, deliverability is becoming more and more and more important. And having more targeted segments ends up being one of the most effective ways of driving really good deliverability. But here's the thing. So what often happens is, I'd say historically, it's been really hard and really expensive to do targeted segmentation. But now with AI, and we've actually seen this really well. What's on the screen here is a tool of ours, our AI segmentation tool. We've seen actually that we can produce segments for customers, or brands can create segments within Raylion faster than in many cases they do it on the rules-based side in something like a Klaviyo. This all syncs with Klaviyo. But the benefit is they can also create segments they didn't even have before. So not only are we being able to, because of AI, to create more targeted segments to drive more revenue, better engagement, better results, but we can create even segments we didn't really have before to continue to drive that LTV result. Simple example here. So let's say, from Triple Whales, data points, right, of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, beauty was a great category. Let's say that you have a beauty brand. What most folks with a beauty brand do today is they create a Klaviyo flow. They set it up for 30 days, right? So let's say it's a hair product. They set it up for 30 days and they say, okay, after 30 days, we're going to go and automatically send an email out to this customer that made a purchase, reminding them to purchase again, right? Hey, you're running low, you should buy, so on and so forth. And that's awesome. That works. But what we are actually seeing now with amazing results is more of a replenishment score and actually tailoring that to every customer. So imagine instead you create a few different segments, and the way that it's working is it might be 30 days, it might be 60 days, it could be 70 days, because it's actually automatically tailored to every customer. So you know it's going to hit them in the timing that matters to them most. And then you can actually overlay on top of that a discount prediction. So whether or not a customer is more likely to need a discount to buy than not, right? And that's kind of what I mean by being able to actually start to do these more targeted segments, better deliverability, better revenue because it's more tailored, and better margin because you're not wasting time discounting stuff that doesn't necessarily need it, and that sort of stuff. So those are 3 tactics that, and kind of strategies overall, that you can take away. Many of this you can do now. You can do more targeted segments now, whether you're using AI or not. But these are things that we're seeing unequivocally driving better LTV for brands in a pretty quick fashion. So with that, I would say I kind of offer here at the end, if this resonated with you, if you're interested in having this kind of dashboard or even getting recommended segments, just for folks on this webinar, because Triple Whale is awesome, you all are awesome, we love this community. You can go to the site here, I'll drop it in the chat too, and we'll run a free sort of recommendation audit for you. So you can get a dashboard, you can get your loyal customer DNA, and you can get some recommended segments from us based on what we've been seeing working for other brands. So thank you all, and yeah, I don't know if there's questions.
Nathan, yes, I am right behind you all about segmentation. It is so important. As someone who does too much shopping online, and I spend a lot of money with certain brands, it gets to the point where you know your own loyalty to a brand and you want your brand to know that as well. And if I'm getting messaging or gifts or discounts, like I'm a new customer when I've been spending thousands of dollars with this brand, I'm going to be pretty ticked off. So yeah, it's all about the segmentation. I am so with you on this. We do have another lively chat for you. So if you can stick back, that would be wonderful. I did have a really good question from Brittany. They're just wondering, would offering gifts to current customers or new customers, do you have data on this one?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it works for both. I'd say we see it on the repeat purchase front. We see it on the new customer acquisition front. I think the difference ends up being usually trying to tailor it a little bit more. So kind of to your point, Aaron, like if you get a certain gift as a new customer, depending on the kind of product it is, like you probably don't want that same gift as, say, your 3rd or 4th or 5th purchase. There are also great surprise and delight opportunities. So like in that 5th, 6th purchase example, there's a subscription customer of ours, and like part of what they do is when they start to hit one of those points, they have this sort of surprise and delight gift that kind of helps drive it along. So that way they're not sort of training their customers to expect a gift, but they kind of treat it like they planned it, but it feels like, oh my gosh, you're just appreciating me. This is great. Of course I want to buy more. So honestly, it works great on both fronts.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Awesome. Thank you for that. Great insight, Nathan. This is great.
Cool.
Now, before you jump off, let's find out who is going to be the winner of the $75 gift card. And just going to scroll quickly. And the winner is going to be Christina Valenzuela. Congratulations, Christina.
Awesome.
We will make
Congrats.
sure that your information gets over to Nathan and we get that gift card over to you. Congrats. She's so excited.
That's good.
Thanks again, Nathan. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. We are almost at the end. I'm so sad, but we have still some fantastic speakers. And the next, I'm very excited for joining us is Lolita, who is the owner over at EveStar. Lolita, please come to the stage. Everyone give her a warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Yes, no, we're very excited to have you. And if you just want to take a moment to share your screen so we can make sure that we can see your presentation.
Right. Yeah, you see it?
Yes, and if you just want to press slideshow so that we can see the full screen, because right now it's just on the little one.
All right.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. The stage is yours.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. So what I want to dive in here right away, and I would love the audience to actually interact with me a bit here, and answer on these two very important questions that us as an agency we spend hours and hours discussing internally and with our clients. And these questions are as follows: does lifetime loyalty actually exist in hyper-competitive US economy? And how forgiving are consumers who have had so many alternatives? EveStar has been around for 8 years, and we're top e-commerce full service marketing agency. And when we work with brands, we work on their acquisition and retention. And throughout the years, we probably sent over 100,000 emails and spent 100,000, over 100 million spent on acquisition. And these are the very important topics that we discuss, especially when we talk about how to improve the retention. So when the customer joins our portfolio, the first things that we do, we actually start setting up surveys before we start spending on media dollars. And when we start spending, setting up surveys, these are the questions that come to mind. And here are the answers basically from the surveys that we set up, and they're pretty miraculous, right? That their customers come back only for 2 reasons, and 2 reasons only. And the reasons are product that they cannot live without, and the service that they cannot trust. So I even have a joke here that if retention is broken, then it's your fault. And have you tried to deliver the product on time, right? Versus coming in and starting spending a lot of money right away on ads, and retention marketing, when it's starts always with the basics when it comes to product and the service. And what we also found from surveying the customers of the brands that we represent, that 89% of customers will leave after 1 bad experience with the brand. So customers today are very unforgiving, and brands have very little margin of error to impress them on the first experience with their product, and the first experience of when they deliver the product to their homes. So if we look back, we're all consumers. We've all had right now fantastic Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and as consumers we probably also shopped, right? And there is for sure some brands that we used to shop 4 or 5 years ago, but we don't shop with them anymore. And probably the reason why that we don't shop with them again is that we had a bad experience, or the product quality has dropped. So to reiterate and give you the highlights of EveStar, that we work with over 350 brands, managed over 100 million spent, launched over 100,000 emails, and we have had some fantastic transformative results, and we've had some phenomenal flops as well. Not only the great case studies, but we've also failed at helping companies. And I'd like to talk actually about the learning experience, because you learn more when you don't do well. And to kind of give you a little bit more context as to you have the brand that comes to you, let's say fashion. Fashion is one of the biggest segments, as we learned today, from Triple Whale, or fashion apparel. And you put the same team on the account, and let's say they go after the same target audience, women 30 to 40. And you put the same team, same strategists, same creative team, same media buyers, and then one miraculously takes off and does really well from 0 to 5 million in 24 months. And the other ones were just having difficulties getting it off the ground. But here's what's different, and what sets them apart is the brands that do succeed today are the ones that are laser focused on their product and have flawless customer experience. So what marketing does, we as an agency, is that we're supposed to amplify an already amazing product versus being the band-aid of, hey, let's get this some sales while I'm still working on the product. Every time when the brand joins, as I mentioned, the first thing that we do is that we set up the surveys, and we like to get our own data, speak to their customers. We also go through a mystery shopping experience for each brand. And I wanted to share a pretty, I think that funny or experience that I personally went through. We had a fashion brand. I cannot disclose obviously who the brand is. They came to us. They had massive budgets, 300 to 500,000 per month on media spend. They came with already set up, closed everything on the retention side. Seemed to be working fine. When you look at the data, returning customer revenue for fashion brands showed to be about 20 to 25%, which is low. Okay, it should be 30s and up, between 30 and 40%. So I went ahead and I went on a shopping spree with them, and this is my experience for a brand that's already spending 300K per month on ads. Product took 10 days to deliver. By the time that the product came in, I already opened the packaging. I already knew that I'm not going to like the product because throughout the 10-day delivery, they got significantly beat up in the, while it was being shipped. The product, even though it was a decent quality, the sizing didn't match. So I went ahead and I tried to return it. I couldn't return it right away, print out the shipping label because the fulfillment service was, I had to ship it back to Dubai. So it took about 7 days to get the shipping label, send it back. I got stuck in customs. The customs tried to call the brand. The brand didn't pick up. The package got sent back to me. I had to repeat the cycle. At the end, the package never made it to the brand and the product got lost. So ended up, I was not the only one that dealt with that experience. Therefore, the data of 20% returning customer revenue, did show that the issue there is with the experience, and the brand was very focused on marketing and was spending a lot on acquisition and retention. And we had, thought that everything was in order, but it was not. And it was a very simple fix, right? But a lot of brands, they do not pay attention to, the basics. So this is where, from all the data that we have of touching 350 brands, we, recognize that the product and experience is very needed. When you marry it with, marketing strategies, this is when the magical things happen. So, in summary, that the only retention strategy that actually matters today, right, is an unbeatable product and stellar service. So here's another thing that from our surveys that we put together, the data points that I, find very valuable to share with you guys is 85% of consumers say product quality is the number one reason they stay loyal. So very little margin for error for the brands to, retain the customer there. And 80% of customers say they'll recommend a brand because of the positive experience. So one negative experience, like I shared from the mystery shopping, that said the customer is not coming back, no matter how many emails you send them, no matter how many discounts you give them on the next sale, it's just done. It's over because, United States, such a big market. Every brand wants to succeed in United States. There is a lot of competitors. Everybody's knocking, on the customer's door. So that, product and experience, once again, is super, super important. So what customers really want today, I think that it starts with ads that communicate exciting brand momentum, and there is a positive engagement on the ad. Us as the media buyers, as soon as we see that we start receiving negative engagement on an ad, we right away raise an alarm. With a brand, we stop, we pause, we try to fix things, because as soon as that ad starts receiving negative engagement, that's the ad delivery is affected, and there is already issues throughout the funnel that needs to be addressed immediately. Customers are looking for easy to navigate website that already eliminates any pre-purchase questions. Everybody wants fast and seamless shipping and great first unboxing experience. So customers today already psychologically, subconsciously made a decision whether they're going to like the product or not before they open the box, right? By the way that the box and the package looks. So obviously the product needs to meet expectation of what the customer thought that the product will be. And if by something, if not a generous and understanding customer service experience, there is so many today automated replies to where, customer reaches out to the customer service team. It takes 72 hours to reply. You receive an automated reply that we will get to it. There's always delays, but this is where retention starts right there before we even talk about amplifying the marketing. And obviously everybody wants easy and seamless returns. It's cheaper to retain than acquire a customer. I'm very looking forward to having discussions with each brand of mine in January, where we talk about that they increased 10% on the ads, yet the revenue did not follow, just simply because there is cost of advertising every single year goes up. It goes up by about 10%. Nothing you can do about it. So focusing on retention and the product and experience is super important, because at the end, when you do the math, that it's much cheaper to retain than acquire. So what is the perfect formula for success? It's the good product, top customer experience, on top of the right full cycle marketing equals growth and profit. So I always make a joke that it takes two to tango. So if you do want to, you are serious about amplifying your marketing, you got to be just as serious about your product, because as I shared, that there are some winning case studies, but there are some that are not winning, and the same team managing but completely different results. Triple Whale advantage and measure what matters. We have been partners with Triple Whale for many years. Every single brand that we represent is on Triple Whale. Triple Whale today provides absolutely fantastic data cohorts that help you identify acquisition costs and repeat purchase rate metrics. Not a lot of brands like to dig through that data, to be honest with you. It's either the agencies that need to educate brands today how to analyze that data, or brands need to work with Triple Whale and learn how to use it. But all of the answers when it comes to the retention are within the Triple Whale data. So Triple Whale can also help you understand which product creates the most LTV, which is very cool. That when you identify, let's say that the brand sells, several SKUs, that there is going to be a winner that pulls the most LTV. Focus on it. Start focusing acquisition efforts on it, right? Because that's the product that's going to get you the highest LTV returns, and build around that product. And of course, using Triple Whale for post-purchase surveys. The first thing that we do, as I mentioned, before we start spending on ads, is surveys. The questions that we like to ask that are super helpful is, very simple, is, how did the customers come to you? What did they hear from you? You'd be surprised that 7 out of 10 that the brand thinks that they get the customers from one channel, but they don't get the customer from that channel, so they're wrong. And when we see that the word of mouth is surging, that there's a referral, that means that we got ourselves a brand that's really taking their product and experience very seriously. That's a good thing. We celebrate that when we see that the referrals. That's what scales revenue. Ask your customers, why did they come back, right? And ask your customers what almost stopped them from buying. These are important questions, and and we love to add that. The fourth question is, what else would you like to see for the brand to offer? A lot of the brands that we've seen throughout the years, and from the experience, that introduce the wrong product into the into their store just because they believe that that's the right product, and that product completely does not sell, right? So before brands think of, hey, I'm going to go make a new collection and based on the new collection, speak to your customers, gather the intelligence, then make a decision, because we've seen some unsuccessful things happen by the brand making the wrong decision on what product they introduce next into the mix. So, to summarize my presentation, the way that we look at things, that retention isn't some sort of a hack or a campaign. It's the natural outcome of a brand that delivers on what it promises. And marketing is not a band-aid. Marketing will not fix the core problem of the retention, but marketing will amplify an already amazing brand. So yes, that wraps it up. And let me know if you guys have any questions, and let's connect and drive lasting growth together.
Wonderful. Really appreciate the triple shout out. That was a great slide. But I also have to say, I really do love that, you also talked about that there isn't this magic wand for retention, like, or this magical campaign, and, really also emphasizing the importance of working with your customers. I know that Avi, a brand, does a really great job about asking the customers what should be the next flavor for our products. And guess what? That new flavor is always sold out because that's the flavor that their customers want. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. That was a wonderful presentation. And if you are able to stick back, talk in the chat, that would be wonderful. We would love to have your expertise in there. But before we let you go, we have to announce the winner for the $100 gift card from Everstar. So the winner of the $100 gift card is going to be, we got Brittany Nastasi. Brittany Nastasi. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your last name wrong, but congrats. We will make sure, Brittany, that you get your information over to Lolita. So thank you so much. And thank you again, Lolita, for that wonderful presentation. It was great having you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone, I can't believe we're at the end of our presentation. Another just big thank you for everyone who is still with us. And we are very, 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 very excited and save the best for last. We are welcoming to stage now Ben, the Senior Paid Media Consultant at Vervant. Ben, let's get on the stage.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, appreciate everyone for sticking around. I'll share my screen and get started.
Perfect. Yes. And we know it's very late for you. So thank you for also sticking around.
Yes, sunny England. As you can see, it's nice and dark. Gets dark nice and early here nowadays, which is always fun. But yeah, really excited to talk. Thank you very much for Triple Whale for inviting me. I'm going to keep it very snappy. I wanted to condense this down to 4 key considerations and kind of give you a little snapshot into how Vivant want to kind of build on brand loyalty moving into 2025. So for those of you who don't know, Vivant are a paid media agency and e-commerce consultancy. We kind of split the agency in half. I sit on the paid media side of things, so I'm going to try my best to explain some e-commerce concepts, but for the most part, I'll be looking at this through the lens of paid media. So in terms of setting the scene, I thought it'd be good to start with some stats to give the context, the why, and the reason. So only 16% of marketers rank retention as a key focus within their strategy, but improving customer retention by 5% can increase profits between 25 and 95%, and that's from Forbes. The second is 53% of customers who return for a second purchase go on to make a third. And loyal existing customers have a 67% higher average order value than new customers. Essentially, what this boils down to is marketers are very guilty of taking retention and loyalty for granted. So many times when we audit new accounts, do we see that easy catch-all, all existing customers retention targeting lines with no tailored assets and no real consideration going into it. And as we know, just with acquisition, there's so much more to it and so much depth and granularity to build into. So that kind of gives the reason as to why we're talking about this today and essentially how we're going to try and prioritize it moving forward. So the 4 key tactics, the first is essentially looking at this from the outset. Acquisition and loyalty are intrinsically linked. We know that it's far easier to drive loyalty and intent in customers who already align with your values rather than converting them later down the road, and how important it is to think about the relationship between customer lifetime value and how much you spend to acquire those customers. So the most important thing is to have that in your front of mind, but particularly to meet new customers with that rich storytelling content, to highlight your brand mission, your ethos, your product quality, your unique selling points, to really create that affinity and those ties with your new customers right at the top of the funnel when you're first reaching them. Those first touch points are crucial. And the reason for this is, you can see from marketingdive.com, 63% of global surveyed customers are purpose driven. They want to choose brands who align with their values. So if you want to create fickle customers who will sit in your database and do nothing, don't talk about your brand values, don't create those ties, don't create emotion in those assets when you're trying to enter the funnel. So I think you need to invest in loyalty right at the beginning before they've even become an existing customer. So that's my first tip. The second is to think about your membership proposition. So often do we see the point system, when we think about rewards and loyalty, and it's so reductive and transactional. Don't get me wrong, it works sometimes, but what we want our kind of brands to move forward with is far more creating community and that sense of belonging. And that's where you're going to get the real engagement, the loyalty, the advocacy, is you're making them feel like they're part of something rather than a pay to play kind of system. So there's a couple of brands that do this really, really well. So things like creating a targeted reward system based on tier level. We see that Represent do this really, really well. So they do things like they'll invite their community members to have sneak peeks into next seasons. So that's really good. And the other thing is to do things like collect data on customer preferences even before they've made a purchase. And one of the examples I love, and I'll skip on to the next slide, is actually Spoke. What they do really, really well is they have this find your fit function. So before you've even, just as soon as you landed on site, you can say what your waist size is, the general fit that you prefer, and all this sort of thing. That then allows them to tailor the customer journey. And so it just makes things so streamlined, so easy, and immediately they've already got so much information to add value. One of the ones I really like as well is Nudie Jeans over here. They've got products that are members only, so they're only accessible as if you become part of their community and sign up. And I think it just showcases the value proposition of signing up and being part of that community and membership. And that's how you kind of drive loyalty beyond just pay. Here's your points. You'll get some money off the next round. The other example on the left is Bandit. I don't know if anyone's come dropped onto a website and they try and find the loyalty aspect of things, and it's like kind of unclear as to what they need to do to achieve it. I think this really sets it out in the intent. They talk about what you need to do to achieve it and what's available, and I think that's really key as well, is clarity. We don't want the kind of hidden tricks, the kind of the obscurity with this. People want to be able to make decisions and informed decisions. The third, and I think is almost the most important piece, especially from a paid media perspective, is making use of your most valuable resource, and that's the customer database. I love talking about effective segmentation. Your most valuable customers won't respond or behave in the same way to messages that a lapsed customer would receive and respond to. So the key thing of segmentation is it opens up opportunity to tailor messages to meet people with the right message at the right time in their customer journey. And this opens up opportunities like cross-selling and upselling if people have purchased products that are of a lower AOV or purchase frequency isn't particularly frequent. Likewise, if we segment our customer database effectively, we can get win-back customers, lapsed customers who have exceeded the limit of your defined customer lifetime. And then we can move on to things like rewarding your VIP customers. I said it at the beginning, there's so often that we get just that lazy, all existing customers targeting line, and there's no tailoring, there's no thought and intent behind it. And if a VIP customer received a blank ad with a logo and just a photo of one of the models, that just doesn't resonate. It doesn't mean anything. They don't feel like you've heard them and they belong to anything about your brand. And so what I like to do is very much like with an acquisition, is we need to understand the funnel just as much as we do for acquisition as we need to for retention and loyalty. So I've broken it up, and this is post-purchase. So you've got them; they've made a purchase first, and we split it up into things like growth, loyalty, and advocacy being at the bottom of the funnel. With growth, we've already discussed some of them. Cross-selling, upselling, bundling, trying to improve the engagement and the the purchase frequency and purchase value of these customers, or likewise winning them back if they haven't purchased in a long time. All of which is made possible by segmentation of your customer database. The next one is loyalty. So again, your VIP customers, high AOV, high purchase frequency, people who engage with the community, people who have, wanted to engage. And then the final one is advocacy. And I think that's in some ways the kind of the highest form of loyalty, is someone willing to be an advocate for your brand and really sing about it. And the real benefit of including this in your retention strategy is you then passively start to drive acquisition off the back of your VIP customers through that rewards program, which I think is brilliant to kind of piggyback on and leverage those existing trends and that intent from your highest value customers. Last thing is adapting your creative to win a time and attention. More and more that we talk about this in the paid media sphere is creative is targeting. In this age of automation, the more and more people who are running ASC campaigns, Advantage Plus shopping campaigns on Meta, that's all reliant on the algorithm, so little input that we can provide it other than creative diversity. Same with things like Performance Max on Google, so reliant on the algorithm and the these learning insights and its signals. We need to feed it with the right creative to meet people at the right time, to really guide them down the funnel and to meet them with messaging that resonates. So, we need to build our creative diversity to speak to different buying behaviors and customers at different levels of the loyalty program. We need to drive brand affinity. And particularly, we're talking about the different value propositions that you offer. We need to make sure that that's front of mind as well. So creative is so key, and it can't be taken for granted. It can't be a boilerplate, regurgitated thing that you maybe use in email or in press. It has to be tailored. And those are just a couple of examples of some of the things we've been talking about. One of my favorites is Private White in the middle. They're one of my clients. I really like the position they've kind of come from, is like some men simply have an unfair advantage. And they create that immediate sense of exclusivity, and this is something special and you want to be a part of it. Likewise, we've got Kel Smith on the side talking about saving 15% off when you subscribe and become a part of their membership. And lastly, referring a friend, that advocacy, and that was for Press Juices. I've absolutely rattled through that. Hopefully all of you could understand my accent and that was all really informative. But if you do have any questions and you want to reach out, I think our details are on there. But if not, I'm on LinkedIn as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. There was so many key points, everything from, points versus memberships, which I'm a huge advocate for, especially now that we've been doing the e-commerce thing for a long time. Well, long enough that people are starting to realize that they're getting more frustrated with points than actually enjoying them. You all of a sudden you've collected 1,000 points and then you're told that, oh, you get this trinket. What? Where's the value in all this? And I am starting to see the value more in memberships and being able to get, like you said, like you get exclusive looks into certain products, or maybe also you get different discounts than what the average person would be getting. So yeah, huge part of that one as well too. Really love that information. And just before you go, before we wrap up, there are some questions also in the chat. If you're able to stick around, Ben, we would love it. And just really appreciate that presentation. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everyone. Well, this brings us to the end of our presentation. And before we wrap up, if you did enjoy this webinar, you definitely will want to miss our upcoming events. So on January 16th, Triple Whale is hosting a must-attend webinar that brings together, again, some industry experts to not only share their must-know e-commerce trends for 2025, but they also provide some really actionable strategies that you can actually use into the new year. I am just going to add. All right, so I just added the link to this webinar. We are very lucky to be joined by partners and friends from Google, Postpilot, Aftership, Fermat, Okendo, Curio, and also BitBranding. So as I said, I've added the sign up link into the chat so you can secure your spot. And if you can't attend live, also by sign up, you will still receive the recording. And as always, just a really big thank you to everyone who attended today's webinar. Your participation is what makes these sessions possible, and we just truly appreciate your engagement in making them informative and also very interactive. So if you did have any questions about Triple Whale or maybe you had comments about how we can make this webinar series even better, feel free to reach out to me at erinwatt@triplewill.com, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. It was wonderful, as always, being your host, and I look forward to seeing you. I can't believe I'm saying this, but seeing you all in the new year for our next event. So thanks again, everyone.